to do every single time. So I'm joined here tonight by Mr. Mike Miedler, who is the CEO of C21. And I'm joined here as well by Dan Kruse, who's the CEO and owner of C21 Affiliated, which I'm not incorrect in saying the #1 C21 brokerage in the world, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Brokerage-wide client. I've worked with you guys for, I don't know, 3 years, something.
Four or five now, actually.
I was going to say, you usually tell me that our time together always seems a lot longer than what it is, right?
But a great relationship, Jared.
4 or 5 years or so. So guys, let's kick this off right away. This is called Happy Hour. I am having tonight a nice Two Juicy from a local brewery called Two Roads, where my son's soccer coach is actually the chemist there. So I get all of the cans and everything that weren't full enough or weren't whatever. It's one of my favorite double IPAs. I will be slow rolling it because it's not a light beer.
Yeah, be careful over there.
Yeah. That's exactly right. What are you guys partaking of tonight?
I will present. So our corporate headquarters is based out of Madison, Wisconsin. For anybody that's on the Facebook Live that's been in Wisconsin, you have to have a Spotted Cow local brewed. You can only get it in the state of Wisconsin. So I have my Wisconsin roots here.
Very good. And Mr. Miedler, did you go away?
I did. So I think I told you guys earlier, I'm actually at my mother's house, and so I had to go.
Is that a Founders?
I am generally like you, Jared. I'm a heavy IPA fan. And the only one she had in the house was a light session ale, which is good because I got to drive home in a little while.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, I've got as a backup here in what's called an Island Hopper, which is from another brewery called Thimble Island. And I'm really just trying to make up for the fact that when I first started doing these, I had on Thursday, I had Adam Contos and Nick, who you know, Bailey. And I just literally rushed in and forgot it was a happy hour show. And so right when we're about to start, Nick or Adam goes, "So what are you drinking?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I turn around in the fridge and it was either bourbon or a White Claw. And now there's been like memes created online about me having a White Claw and like all these things that, you know, completely hurt my feelings, but I will get over it. So first off, guys, thank you so much for coming on. You know, I said this to you guys beforehand, but first off, how quickly you guys responded and said, absolutely, let's do it. I appreciate that. The real point of this here is, you know, for people to kind of see the people that are really running the industry during a time that's kind of unprecedented right now, for them to kind of see a little bit more of the behind the scenes of who you guys are and how you think, and really just kind of talk to each other like we do, you know, when we're at your event and we go grab a beer or whatever, and we're just talking to each other and we're not, you know, putting our pinkies in the air and saying things like indubitably and, you know, those kind of things. So that's the point of this, guys. So I appreciate you guys coming on, you know, and just kind of sharing, you know, whatever the answers are to the questions that I'm going to have there. So cheers.
Cheers.
And guys, if you're in the comments, take a picture right now of your drink, put it in the comments so everybody virtually can see what you have there. Do me a favor. This is now, these people are from C21. If you know a C21 agent, go ahead and tag them below. Make sure you share this right now. So we can get the word out there. But again, like I've said, every time I've done this, I'm doing just about every, you know, head of every major brand. This is not about right now, oh, I don't work for C21, so I can't watch this or I can't whatever. This is about the industry. And that's what I appreciate about you guys coming on so much is that, you know, there's plenty of time to have recruiting wars and go after people and lose people and, you know, the whole thing. You know, right now it's about the industry and an industry full of people that are uncertain right now. And they're in unprecedented times and they're not sure, you know, what to expect and they're not sure how to feel. And they're watching the news way too much. And they're, you know, and they're not, even though they hear from people like me and others that, look, guys, this is temporary, it feels so permanent, you know? And so there's something about hearing from the leaders of the people that are actually running this industry. And so I appreciate you guys coming on. Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate it, Jared. And I think it's important that we all are getting onto things like this and sharing ideas. And I'll just say one of the interesting things about what's happening right now and talk about coming together. I was on a call today with 100 people on a Zoom talking about the CARES Act that just got passed, you know, late on Friday. And there was people from Coldwell Banker, C21, Independence on there, all sharing ideas of how we're interpreting this CARES Act. And
dude, and by the way, it's amazing right now if you look at what's available to people.
It is. And that was the purpose of the call, is saying, hey, we have this small window to really take advantage of this situation that's being presented to us. And I thought it was really neat to see all these broker leaders get together on a call and say, great guys, how can we all take advantage of this? Because it's not about Coldwell Banker, C21, or Keller Williams, or anybody. It's about an industry and what
an industry that's going to get through this. And then when the surge happens, they're going to be prepared. And by the way, you just said that. I want to get this across to everybody listening right now. Guys, I'm about to make you some money right now. For the first time, they're actually counting real estate people as the independent contractors and the people that they're going to service now with this CARES Act. But there's a thing called, if you go to sba.gov, like literally sba.gov, sba.gov, there's a yellow line at the top of the site. It says coronavirus apply for economic injury disaster loan. Okay. That economic injury disaster loan, what's happening is they are giving $10,000 to each and every independent contractor and self-employed business person up until when the $50 billion is gone. So if you go fill that out, answer it accurately, literally within 3 days, they are putting $10,000 into your bank account, like wiring it in there. And once that $50 billion is gone, that portion is gone. So there's a lot of different parts to the CARES Act. There's other ones where, for those of you with employees and such, they're going to give up to 2.5 times your payroll plus your utilities and those things. And if you can prove after it's given to you that you're using it towards your business, you're not even paying that back, which is mind-boggling to me. But aside from that for a second, because I don't want to, we're not experts in that or whatever. If you go to sba.gov, the yellow line above that actually says on it, coronavirus apply for economic injury disaster loan. They have right now, everybody who fills out who qualifies, which real estate people as independent contractors do qualify, a $10,000 grant that is being dispersed within 72 hours in most cases. And it's only happening until that $50 billion that was put towards that specific grant. It's only happening as long as that $50 billion remains. So it's first come, first serve. Once that's gone, it's not available anymore. So aside from all the other things available, guys, once we're done here, it's not gonna be gone by the time we're done here. SBA.gov, every single real estate person, self-employed person, whatever it is, SBA.gov, click that yellow line at the top, fill it out. There's $10,000. Like, this is the greatest Facebook Live you're ever gonna watch. $10,000 being wired into your account. What's that?
That 5-minute spiel you just gave is worth every red cent that people logged on, because you're right. Two things I want to compound what Dan said is that the great thing about our industry and the reason we pay NAR dues.
There you go. I love that you're saying this.
Big organizations is because we're out there lobbying every single day to get the real estate community involved in programs that the government's putting together, and lobbying, our politicians to do exactly that, to put us into those bills. So I think the second great point that you made is that money isn't going to be there forever. And so we're coaching all of our agents, all of our broker owners to get in line today, because there's a program that fits your needs. You just got to get on it and act very quickly. So great.
And the nice thing about that one, guys, is like that one is supposed to take effect and be in your, like literally at the end of it, you put in your bank account info, and it's supposed to be wired in within 72 hours. Now the other programs, they're so backed up, it's crazy. It may take 3 weeks. It may take 2 months. It may take whatever. This one is designed to happen pretty quickly. And I don't think there's one person watching or listening right now that could not use $10,000 wired into their account. And the nice thing is, as the people that are telling you about this right now, we as a collective will only collect 5,000 of that once you receive it. That's how good we are.
I will add on to that. Both there's this relief side on the agent area, and Jared, I think you mentioned it, really well there. I think the other piece is there's a lot available to the broker side, whether you're a small broker or a large broker, in this whole SBA portion of the CARES Act with the SBA 7A. I think it's.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Like, do you know a little bit about that? Can you talk about that a little bit for the brokers out there?
I'm not a CPA or your attorney.
You have to say that that's the case, exactly.
But with this CARES Act, essentially they created this SBA 7A loan program, and the SBA 7A is different than any SBA loan that they've ever put out there in the past. one, they're working to get these funds out as quick as possible to business owners and small businesses. There's certain requirements, like you have to be under 500 employees to apply for it.
Yeah.
But much to the point,
most people listening right now are just shy of that 500 employee threshold.
Yeah. But there's some interesting components to it. As you mentioned, what they're taking into consideration is payroll. So they're looking at payroll, and essentially they're saying right now, they're going to give you funds up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll cost.
Your average monthly payroll.
For an organization. However, one of the
plus utilities, by the way, plus utilities.
Well, so there's some forgivable actions to it, and forgivable actions tie into rents, utilities, payroll. But the interesting part is they're actually considering, from what at least it reads today, is independent contractors falling into that SBA 7A. So you can actually use commission dollars towards the loan amount you would receive from the federal government.
Well, so wait a second. I didn't know this. They're talking about doing the 2.5 time one towards people that are commissionable?
Yes, as it reads today. Now, I think we're going to get some clarifying language, and Mike, you might be closer to some of this than even I.
That would be amazing.
At least the way it states today, I think as a broker, you have the right to both put in payroll, so W-2 employees, and you also have the right to put in 1099ers. And then the government will say, yes, we're gonna actually go towards 2.5 times of what you pay out, both in commission dollars and in your payroll areas. And then a portion of that will be forgiven as long as you follow the right rules and regulations that they put out.
I could see a situation here where people actually come out better than when it started. I mean, honestly, like when you, like, I mean, I'm saying that from the perspective of like, so when I heard about this, I've got a financial buddy, whatever, who called me today and told me about this. And he's like, dude, you need to fill out for the CARES Act. And I was like, dude, we're good, man. We're not going to, I told him, I said, we're not going to qualify. Like, we're not going to be able to qualify under the sense that, you know, we're not losing a ton of money. We're built on reoccurring revenue. You know, whatever. And he's like, Jared, listen, first off, this one, you're going to get 10 grand. And then he's like, this one over here. And he started talking about the 2.5 times. And I'm not going to lie, there was a moment where I kind of went like, I don't know if I should be filling that out. Like, that seems a little whatever. And then he says to me, he goes, how much money have you paid in over the years? Like, I get screwed, right? And he's like, how much? He's like, this is all according to the guidelines. It's all according to the rules. Like, fill the paperwork out. Done.
Yeah. And my take on it is none of us know what the future holds, right? We could rebound in this thing in 4 weeks and everybody's fine. It could take us 4 months to get through this. We're going to have to see how it plays out. And the government is saying right now, we're going to give you a stimulus that we didn't get in the last go around of kind of getting kicked in the teeth in the 08 recession. We want to keep small businesses afloat, and for good reason. We want you to pay your rent, and we want you to pay your employee base. And if you do that, we're going to have money for you. And that's what I find interesting about it. My best advice to people on this Facebook Live that are listening is talk to your SBA lender, because they're going to do all these channels through your local SBA lender.
Do you have any recommend as far as like, I know there's places out there that will do it for you, like Lendio, Lendio, and a lot of other places where literally you don't pay them anything. They're just certified reps where they'll do it for you. They get paid by the actual banks that are doing it. But like, do you have places they should go through, or you just like, look, just go find it yourself? Like,
I would go through your local banking relationships, because every bank that I know of at this point has access to this. They don't even have to be an SBA lender. Basically, the government's saying, hey, we want to get this in the hands of every bank we can, streamline this as best as possible to get money in hands as quick as possible. So I don't think you need to get overly creative and go to an institution you don't know. Go with that banker you've got that long-standing relationship with. They will help you navigate it.
It doesn't cost you to apply. It doesn't cost you to do, you know, and I'm going to say really quickly here, guys, before I jump over to you, Mike, I said this in the beginning. I'm going to say it one more time. You know, we've been doing these. They get a ton of traction, a lot of views. Right now we're at, I think, 400 and something people are on live. We got 135 comments. Guys, this is valuable information. Like, when I tell you share this right now, tag agents, tag people, like, get them on here. This isn't just about, let's get the views, let's get the whatever. We do stuff all day long that gets a ton of views. This is literally information that's going to save them, that's going to help them, that's going to help them bridge the gap, that's going, you know. So like, I want to get this information into as many hands as possible. So if you're watching this right now, share it, tag people, get them in here. Let's take advantage of what's available right now. You know, that's there for the sole purpose of, when this all ends, getting you to that point and then being able to take back over. Because real estate didn't lead us to this point, but it's probably going to lead us out of this point. Okay, so what were you going to say, Mike?
No. So Dan and I were on the same call, and I think he makes a great point. There's all different levels of this CARES Act, and it's going to benefit many different people, many different ways. I think two things: use your local banking relationship, get in line immediately is the point that you made, and I think that that's the one that professionals, I heard it takes as long as 2.5 hours to fill out some of the SBA documentation, but go through that process and get it in now.
And the longer you wait right now, they're getting
Yeah.
backed up and backed up. Like, you got to get in.
And Jared, cash will be king. I mean, not just to keep businesses moving forward, but there will be opportunities in this market to take advantage of.
That's the point.
The government wants us to do that. The government, to Dan's point, wants us to continue paying leases, paying our employees, and moving the economy forward. So don't wait until the weekend. Look at it now and get in line.
You know, I love that you said that, because I think sometimes people come from like a scarcity or a just get by mentality. And they're like, yeah, but I'm, maybe I'll just, if I get this, I can make it through and I can, whatever. And, for me, at least, anybody who follows me, I can't stand that mentality. Like we're not here to do that. When you struggle, when you barely make it by, everything, your talents, your abilities, everything is stifled. Your ability to hire people, your ability to have an impact on people, your ability to create an office culture and have an impact on them is all stifled by that just get by mentality. This is an opportunity for a lot of people in a time when, the outside world would expect you to sink. The outside world would expect you, well, there's something that's available to them now that can absolutely, when you put it together with doing the right things every day and acting the right way and keeping your mentality in the right place, this is going to help a lot of people not just stay afloat, but come out the other side even stronger, which I think is really important.
I won't pretend or to compare this to any of the things that we've seen in the past, whether it was the Great Recession in 08, 09, 10, or, the 9/11 incidents or any natural disasters. None of us know what this is going to look like. We all hope it's going to be a quick V and a speed bump in the road, and that we wind up doing, call it 10 months of business in 6 months. Because, again, I think from a household perspective, from an industry perspective, we had really strong fundamentals going in, and let's hope that we can keep those moving in the same direction coming out as long as jobs are there. But our very best companies, our very best agents, you can ask the gentleman sitting right there, grew in really tough times and tough conditions because they saw the opportunity and they took the leadership and the mindset and all those things that they had to execute on to grow their businesses. So there still will be business to be done. It's just a matter of how much we want to go out and get for ourselves.
Dude, that's been our message right now to so many of our students, many of them that are from Century 21. I'm like, guys, this is when winners win. Like, you don't understand right now. Like, this is when people take over. This is when people, and just trying to get that across to them. It's nice to be able to give them some tangible tools, talking about this CARES Act. So I'm so glad that you brought that up, Dan, because I wasn't even really thinking about it, but it makes sense. So with that being said, gentlemen, something I've been asking everybody when we've got on this, because it's a little bit different. I know you both. I know that you both have families. I know you're both very driven people like myself. What's it like? How's it been working from home? Have you loved it? Have you hated it? Are you, Mike, are you curling hair and putting on makeup? Like, I know you got girls at home. Like, what's going on right now? Mr. CEOs of major companies, what's going on working at home?
Look, I think I have both of you guys beat. Jared, you have 3 kids or 2 kids?
2 kids.
2, and Dan's got 2 and 1 on the way, and I have 4.
Every time I see Dan, he's got another on the way. So
don't tell my wife that.
It's every time I see you, I'm like, hey, let's go grab I got to get home, man. I got to get home.
I mean,
those days.
It's for everybody, right? I mean, this new world we're in, I can tell you that there's so many agents and older brokers and folks in this organization and in this industry who are learning about video. They're learning about social media. They're learning about technology because they've been forced into it over the last 3 weeks. And I am proud of our industry and the way we've adapted. I can tell you some stories. I'm sure Dan can share those with you of how people are getting home buyers and sellers through a transaction, whether that's, online and through signing through a DocuSign or what have you, and even just some of the changes people are making in the way they do business. So, working from home.
You've been forced to. I mean, it's not an option anymore. Like, you have been exposed. Like, if I said on the call yesterday, I was like, if you still had your files in a file cabinet back at the office, you have been exposed. Mm-hmm. If you're Bobby, top producer who's been around for 40 years, God bless you. But if all you're doing today is still working off of that business and not doing anything in the way consumers want to operate today, you have been exposed now.
Yeah,
Doesn't
and
work
this will
anymore.
make it better for consumers, Jared. This little blip in the road will make the experience better for consumers long term.
So what's it like working from home though?
So yeah, so I actually am. I've been going to my mom's house, who lives on the other side of the county.
Are you serious?
He's at his mom's house right now.
You're at your mom's house right now?
He's stuck in California because this all went down with my sister. And I literally have my oldest daughter who's in the other room. She did her homework and is done. And
How old?
she's about to be 15 on Friday, and freaking out because to her the world's upside down because she can't have a birthday.
I got a 13-year-old, man. When the hell did that happen? Teenage kids. Like, I'm not old enough to have a teenage kid. I honestly don't understand it. But now just be honest with me right now. Has it been awesome? Has it been challenging? Has it been like, I need to go work somewhere else right now? I'm going to go for a walk. Has it been, no, I can't take the garbage out right now. I'm on the call with what's it really been like?
All of those things, right? It's the highs and lows, the ebbs and flows. And, as a guy like you guys, man, I'm out on the road 100,000 plus miles a year and traveling. So being home for dinner every night has been awesome.
Yes.
We break every afternoon. I get on phone calls and we do walks around the block just to get out and get the body moving and get the blood flowing. So it's been great to that regard. But I mean, my wife will tell you there are some stressful moments for all of us, like, clashing and her trying to teach.
Has she said to you yet, when are you going on your next trip?
Pretty much.
Here's the funny thing, man. Like, I have loved being home. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, I've loved it. Like, it's awesome. My kids have loved it. I've loved it. There is a part of me that like is looking forward to like going and doing what I do. Like, I feel like a part of me is shut down right now. Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Because I love being home but I also think I was built a certain way, and that there's a part of me that gets fulfillment out of going and using my gift, like going and doing, and that part has been shut down right now. Talking on lives and stuff. It's not the same as doing a live event,
We're social animals, right? We're social.
Yeah, man, that's what I mean. It's like, there's a part of me right now that's just like, I'm loving it. I'm taking it in. But man, I'm going to tell you right now, that first event I do when this is all over, look out. like I'm I'm ready,
You're bringing.
How about you, Dan?
So I've got
You've got young ones though. Like,
yeah, I got both of you beat from that. So our daughter, our oldest, is about to be 5 here in April, and our youngest is about to be 3, our boy, in April. And then my wife is 33 weeks right now. So we're due.
There's a baby.
Yeah, we're due in about 6 or 7 weeks. So
your wife's 33 weeks right now.
Yeah, we're due mid May. So yeah, so we're in kind of interesting time at home. I will say, so there's goods of it, much like what you guys both said. Funny enough, I am on day 16 out of the last 17 days where I've had a hardcore workout. So when I'm traveling, that's hard to do, but being home, I've had a good rhythm for my workout. So I actually feel like I'm in really good shape right now. And I've been,
dude, I'm with you, man. Same thing. Like, yeah, no gyms, but
yeah, but you get good workouts, getting your runs in, getting your workouts in your basement. I told this to all of our staff and all of our agents. I think it's important just to keep a routine in your life too, even when you're at home. So like I've been saying, great, I'm in the basement working out this time every morning. I'm in my office doing X, Y, and Z. I'm fortunate before all this, my wife was home with the kids. So, there's still some normalcy a little bit in our house from that standpoint. We just do it in a lot closer quarters. That gets a little tough from time.
Dude, in times of uncertainty, whatever you can control to create certainty, which you do through your patterns, it's going to make you feel better. And it goes complete counter to what so many people listening or watching right now do, which is in times of uncertainty, they just curl up in a corner and say, when's the sun going to come back out? And it's the worst thing you can do. When the world isn't giving you certainty, you create certainty, right? And you do that through your patterns and what you follow every single day, and it'll change everything about your mentality.
And we've been preaching that to our agent base of, keep your routine, keep your prospecting time, keep your lead follow-up time, keep your touch base with your current accepted offers, because that helps that routine. And to your point, Jared, one, I think it mentally helps us through those days. And two, if you do that, I think you've got more energy. You're in that stable scenario. You're controlling
You're doing something, man. You're doing something. And it is true. I've said this on every single one of these I've done here. Like, everyone's got to realize, as permanent as this feels, it's temporary. You know, do not back yourself off further than what the timeline's going to be here. Because at this time right now, where it's kind of like, you know, all these different professional teams they're suspended and they're on break. When their seasons come back, a lot of them aren't going to perform the same because the players are going to be out of shape.
Yeah.
They've been gaming the whole time. They haven't stayed in game shape. They haven't, you know, and from an agent perspective, if you're not staying in game shape, what you're going to do is you're going to create a second winter break. And it's going to take you a month or two once everything comes back out to get ready and get back in order, where you need to be staying in shape now, getting in better shape now, preparing yourself, setting up your systems, setting your business up. So when that surge comes, you're prepared, not, oh, what's this? Oh, I wonder what's going on. Like, get ready, right?
Jared, couple comments on that, which I'll compound what Dan said, and I think it's a great point. Is just the mindset and the routine. That's number one. I mean, even routine for our own kids, right? You guys still getting everybody up at a decent hour. They're having their breakfast and they're getting their schoolwork done, right?
Yeah.
And they need that. But as professionals, as Dan said, it's the same thing. Like, what do you need to do to accomplish today to be considered a success? So the mindset's number one. But I think, to your point, right now, our value to our customers is higher than it's ever been in the last 10 years. Because
so true. So true.
And I think we as professionals, because people still have needs. They're going to have needs today, maybe not as many as we're used to having, but certainly 3-6 months down the road. And so our opportunity now is to serve and get people knowledge and information. And we got to stay at the top of our game and continue to, like you said, be in touch with people. Because that's
Mike, we're in an industry right now where overall, because of all of the disruptors and everything else, there's a battle over things like agents' value and their commission and their all this stuff. And agents complain about it. They complain to me about it. They complain to you about it. They complain. And my response is always, hey, you know, people don't fight. People have no issue in every other area of their life paying more for stuff. This watch is more. This phone is more. These pants are more. Like, there was cheaper options. But the only reason why you complain about price is when you perceive a lack of value, that everyone's the same. And so when you look at a market like this right now, where communities are crying out for leaders, like, give me something, give me an option other than the news of something I can watch. Tell me what's actually going on. Feed me with something other than negativity. Do whatever. A lot of those same agents that were complaining about how people are always questioning their commissions and their value are not taking this opportunity right now to actually prove what their value was all along, okay? And it's an amazing opportunity for those agents in the marketplace that are going to step up and say, no. I own this community. I'm the leader in this community, and this is when I demonstrate that. This is the time for every one of you listening right now to be demonstrating that. And if you don't be upset when it all changes and they're questioning what you cost and questioning. It's because they don't see the value. But never have we had an opportunity like this to show them just how valuable you are and how you do way more than open a door. You do way more than now's the chance.
I totally agree, Jared. And I would say it's even in these times we're navigating, right? We're helping people through transactions. To Mike's point, we're being more creative on how we're showing properties, communicating to the client base. But even things like we're in 6 states that we do business in with our offices. And
what states are you in, by the way?
We are in the state.
I know this, but I mean, like, just for everybody listening right now, like, what states are you in?
Yeah, we do business and have offices in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and then Florida. So Midwest based, and then the state of Florida. And it's interesting. Every state, almost even every MLS has done some variation of language dealing with COVID-19.
Oh yeah, that's been like we have TCs in our marketing department that do transaction coordination for a lot of our students and otherwise. And that's the one thing they said that's been changing in all the contracts now is the COVID-19 addendums and yeah.
Well, I look at that and you talk about value that you're bringing to the table for the general, public and consumer. Like, they don't know how to navigate that yet. There's very specific language coming out on how do you deal with delays in the process due to COVID, and talk about value we're bringing to the table. That language alone, if we can help somebody navigate these times, huge value. And that's the kind of stuff we need to make sure we're understanding and presenting in our value package when talking to the consumer.
Yeah, completely, man. I'd like to really quickly, I asked this, I had Sherry Kruse on last night, and you work under the same umbrella, meaning, Realogy, right? So Ryan Schneider came out and said that Realogy as a whole, he was taking 10% of his salary, and every direct report I think it was accepting 50% of their salary or something like that. Did that affect you, Mike?
It did. In fact, it affected our entire organization. And, we're hunkering down and doing the same thing that we're expecting our brokers and owners doing, which is just, trying to make sure that we're solid and we come through this even stronger on the other side of it. So absolutely did. It affected everybody on my team and everybody across the Realogy organization. So compound what Dan was saying earlier, and I think you were mentioning as well, Jared, is like, this is what's really great about this, that though there's nothing from a health and safety standpoint,
Right.
But this will change the way we interact as society. And it's great to see, like Nike coming out with masks and GM making ventilators and what J&J is doing. And to your earlier point and what Dan was saying, it's like to see our industry come together and work with one another. I can't tell you the amount of information and knowledge that Sherry has shared with me. She said, hey, we're having a broker call with our team, and here are the people we have on that call. So guess what? Right away, I went into action. I started making phone calls. Lucky enough, I'm having you on our broker call tomorrow. So it's about the industry stepping up together and sharing information and sharing knowledge. And I think it's that same opportunity that our agents have with their consumers, whether, again, they're today or long-term, to bring that knowledge down to them, because not everybody has it, and they'll feel better about it, be more enlightened, and know that you're there to help, whether it's now or in the future. So
and I appreciate that too. I'm meeting with your brokers tomorrow, and then I think next week I'm talking to the network globally next week. And yesterday I think I did C21 Canada.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Yeah, that's you guys know. I didn't say this in the beginning, and I probably should have, but you guys know how much I value the relationship with you guys. We've got so many connections there. You guys did an amazing job at 121. Who would have thought it would have been right at the place where the Kobe Memorial was? You must have been freaking out behind the scenes. Like, is this going to mess everything up? As soon as I got there, they were trying to make everything, like how great it was and, oh, it's all good and whatever. And I run stuff. I own 2 companies and whatever. And I'm going, they must have been crapping themselves behind the scenes. Is this going to screw? And for everybody listening, just so you know, so Century 21 had their 121 event. It's their global event they do every year. And it's one of my favorite events to do. And this year it was in LA, and it was at the JW Marriott. And it just so happened that it was happening at the exact same time, in the exact same parking lot as the Staples Center when they were doing the Kobe Memorial service that was all over the place, everywhere. And you couldn't walk anywhere. You had to have certain badges to get in. You had to whatever. And so it was very difficult as far as how you get to where the actual event was, and everything was closed down. Were you behind the scenes kind of how's this going to work out? I know you had to put a good face on, but behind.
Yeah, we were super nervous. It worked out perfect. And
did,
I'll be honest with you, it's interesting how life moves your cheese, right? Because we were literally, I think, maybe one of the last big events in the industry to happen. And we're glad we did it because it brought energy and enthusiasm and that global network together. And, you mentioned it earlier, but, Dan's company is the #1 company in our global network in 83 countries, over 11,000 offices. I think they just got crowned in Real Trends as top 20 companies in the US. And so, what's great about, again, bringing everybody together is Dan was kind enough literally last week on our broker call to talk about the best practices that he's seeing, what he's doing from an organizational standpoint, operational standpoint, to help all of our brokers, his competitors, people all throughout the industry. And again, that's what I really feel is great about what's happening with professionals like you, who are on every brand call and trying to pump up your agents as best as possible, just to bring that positive mindset.
I'm just trying to help the industry right now, man. Honestly, there's, obviously I have a lot of relationships with a lot of different brands and a lot of different people. And, people always ask me do you really it's all real. I don't work with anyone or act like I like anyone who I don't like. And it's just the God's honest truth. It's not in me. Right. But there's so many good people in this industry. It's not fake. Everyone I work with, all of you guys, having you guys on here, I was excited about doing it, because I actually enjoy those relationships. They're good people. When it all comes down to it, yes, there's this brand, that brand. We are the real estate industry. Every single person that's in real estate has a little bit of crazy. There's a little something off. They could have had a full-time job somewhere with salary and benefit. There's a little something off. And at the end of the day, we're all part of the same crazy family. And one brother might fight with the other brother, and one sister might not like this cousin, and one whatever, but we're one big crazy family. Okay.
Right.
If we're not helping each other, in this time, what are we doing, right? I mean, like, we're all in this thing together. Let's figure out a way to get through it together. So I'm glad, Jared, you're doing those things. Mike, you're doing them. I'm happy to meet with anybody, to talk with anybody. That helps us all succeed during this time. Listen,
but Dan, what are you actually? Let's talk about that, because you're running the #1 C21 in the world, right? So this isn't mom and pop shop. Down the way that's got a storefront and is has 5 agents, 3 are unproductive and 2 are selling. Okay. What have you seen as a result of this? Are you guys changing anything? Have you learned anything? Have you what are you seeing here? Like, what could you tell our audience as a result of this happening? What are you seeing? What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot, right? I mean, it's crazy to think about when you guys are talking about 121. That wasn't that long ago, but it seems like a lifetime ago, because we came off the heels of that and we got right into the mix of the whole COVID situation. Over the last 3 weeks, I think, as a company, we have taken every week by week, day by day, almost hour by hour as we've gotten all this information. And
isn't that how it's been for everybody? It's like one day it was nothing more than 500 people. The next day it was like nothing more than 50 people. The next day it was no more than 10. The next day it was stay 6 feet away. And the next day it was don't get out of bed.
Well, and then it got to, federal and then down to state regulations of what are shelter in place or safer at home.
What are you guys in your areas, by the way? What are you guys under shelter in place? Are you considered an essential business? Like what are you?
Yeah. So out of the 6 states we do business in, 5 of them are shelter in place states as it sits today. Florida's the only one that's not, which we anticipate even by the end of the week, it probably will go there. All current 5, except for 1, real estate is considered an essential business. So theoretically, we're still operating in all of our different marketplaces. But it's, life's changed, right? Almost all of our sales office.
What have you guys changed? What have you found that's working? What have you found that's not? Like, what have you had to do?
Yeah, so almost all of our sales offices, we still have staff in there so they can process, basically time sensitive and information they need to be in the office for, remote deposits, loading things to SkySlope, that kind of stuff. We encourage agents not to come in the office unless it's a critical matter. They need to drop off a check, scan something, stuff like that. They're closed to the general public. And then we've got strict guidelines and policies on how to sanitize, keep clean, social distancing when in the offices. We had a mandatory shut down our corporate headquarters because we had too many physical people in there. So our entire corporate staff is all working from home at this point. And things like setting up VPNs for our accounting staff to process closings. I mean, last year we closed 21,000 transactions. We're doing that right now from a remote, locations. We have processors closing deals from their home, kitchen tables.
That's 1,670 transactions a month. Like that's
we did 217 closings yesterday, all from people's living rooms. So it's we're doing what we can to get through the scenarios. But what I'll tell you that's been encouraging, I will say our communication as a collective group is better in the last 2 weeks than it's been in the last 2 years. And
talk to me about that, because you said that before we got on this call, and I said, look, man, you got to tell everybody this, because everybody gets on and talks about, everything they're awesome at and they're, whatever. But this actually for you exposed within your company something that you were like, you know what, we weren't as good at this.
Yeah, and Jared, I felt like we were a pretty good company from communication standpoint until this happened. And then we go, wow, how do we get emergency protocol out? How do we make sure we touch base with every single person in the organization? How do we tell them when there's changing documentation on a local, state, or national level? So now I do a weekly webinar with all of our management staff, and that's everything from office protocol to policies and procedures.
What are you doing that through? Are you doing that through Zoom? Or are you doing that through?
Yeah, we do almost everything through Zoom.
Can you buy stock in Zoom? Because my God.
Hey, yeah. Did you see the, not to steal away from that, but did you see there was a company called Zoom Technologies that they had to suspend trading on because people thought it was the Zoom video?
Is that for real?
Yeah, look it up.
I'm going to go buy Zoom stock like I'm buying Realogy stock, and I know you guys can't discuss that, so.
So we do a lot through Zoom. We also do a lot through Microsoft Teams. So we do a lot through that platform, which works out good for document sharing. And then I'll tell you one technology that's worked really well for me is I do a daily BombBomb for our entire company. And
I'm a big fan of BombBomb, man. Those guys are like my brothers. Like I love them to death.
And what's been great for me with it is in this world of social distancing, it actually gives a human touch to the technology that we're using. So I do everything from, I did one the other day with my kid on my shoulders, walking through the park, just saying we're on our daily routine and taking a family walk.
Really, how many years have I been telling people to be doing video? Like it's connection, not perfection. It's connection, not stop putting makeup on and putting your name tag on and doing 27 takes and whatever. Like, let them see your kid. Let them see that you're a person who happens to do real estate, because then that will connect with them more than any 25 text messages over 4 months will, right?
Totally.
That one that will go right through every, when you're sending text and emails, the same font as every other message they got. When they see your face, they are now forced to either reject a person and not respond, and not, or like it's powerful.
It's a loud lesson, Jared, right now for a lot of people who were never comfortable with video.
I think if you're not doing video in this atmosphere right now, you're dead in the water. So I'm doing that daily to the entire company. We still are communicating via email when needed, and then kind of on our internal.
Email's still important. I'm just talking about those higher level like connection points. Video is where it's at.
Totally. And what I do now is, so I'll do almost a daily, here's what's recent in the COVID update, and then we'll put underneath that bomb, information. But, quite frankly, people would rather listen to a 1 minute, synopsis of it from me than reading through dialogues of links and all that kind of stuff. So we're doing that daily. That's worked out good. And then we're doing fun stuff like our HR department puts out a joke of the day to the entire company. We have
joke? You got an example, like man walks into a bar, ouch, that kind of stuff, or what?
I'll think of a good dad joke before
I've got a lot of them. I've got a lot of them.
And then we're doing things like this. We do virtual happy hours. I probably do 3 a week between different accounting staff will do one, or our agents in certain offices will do them now. And once again, our staff and our agent base are now connecting more. We're doing more virtual office meetings than we ever got people coming into the office to do home tours and talk about properties and all that. But everybody wants to get on a virtual meeting because they don't take as much time. You can connect one-on-one. You can do a virtual happy hour, have a beer. Like, people actually are communicating.
Business up top, casual on the bottom.
Yeah, I got a nice pair of Jordans.
Oh, I thought. Thank God. I thought. Going somewhere else with that. Dude, we started doing our virtual happy hours on Fridays, because every Friday my office and my staff, we do a happy hour, and it's my chance to kind of like talk with everybody and just have that connection. So we started doing it virtually and like putting it out live like this on my Facebook and bringing in our community and like talking to them and doing. And now we're kind of bummed because when we start getting back in, a lot of these people are like, we want you to keep doing that. Like, they love the connection of it,
Yeah.
But it's definitely forced a lot of us to kind of see like, okay, video is not optional anymore. And it's made us look at our communication channels and were we really good, or were we just getting fat on sugar? Like, no opportunity to see that it wasn't the case.
So on that note, I've got a question that I'm kind of curious on your 2 takes on it. To me, I've said this to a lot of people. I'll be very interested in the psychological impact of all of this when it's all said and done. Just from your guys' end of communication, Jared, your world of events, you do so many events on an annual basis, like
live events.
Where do you guys see this going? Do you think we're going to get back to the 2,000 people in an auditorium or 121 the way we used to do them? I mean, I'm just curious of how you guys see the interaction from a human side of this as we play it out.
I think, Dan, I'll let Jared answer as the expert next, but I think people are social animals and we crave being face-to-face and with one another. I think you could probably do real estate virtually no matter what, but we want to see it. We want to feel it. We want to touch it. We just crave that face-to-face, belly to belly, eyeball to eyeball. And I don't think that ever changes in a human being. And, the sooner we get there, the better. And that's my take.
Look, it's absolutely going to change the fact that the way people communicate, like getting comfortable with video, and like you were talking about the virtual, happy hours and all of that, people are realizing, oh, that world exists. I may not have acknowledged it, but it exists. But from a live event perspective, like, let's not forget, guys, there is nothing like live. Okay. I booked 2 events today for major events where like there's going to be thousands of people. And you know what, I'm getting messages from our people, and we do a yearly event, the Jared James Advance, right? It's a 2-day event. We bring in, you know, all of our people and followers and students and whatever. And we're getting messages off the hook right now. I can't wait until Nashville in October. Like to be at that event and feel the energy and be with everybody, and there is something about live, guys. I got a request recently to do an event in Germany, and they wanted me to zoom in and do the keynote, like to do it by video. And I said no.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, you don't understand the power of live. Like coming from a guy here, like I get live, you know, like it's different. Doing this is cool. And this is actually really cool. I'm enjoying this a lot. But there is nothing like, not only for the presenter being on that stage, but the audience, the energy, what it does to you, the having those people there all in the same accord, with the same goal, with this all getting fueled up, all getting a break from their regular lives. That's not going away, right? This, let's not forget, this is temporary. You know, like they're gonna have a vaccine, people are gonna build up antibodies, this is temporary. So as much as it sucks, let's remember it's temporary. You will never be able to replicate what it's like to be live at a concert, what it's like to be live at 121, what it's like to be live at the Jared James Advance. Like that is a rush that you will not be able to get through Zoom.
I agree with you guys.
I was saying it's the emotional connection. That's what we crave as humans.
And I would agree with you both. You know, I was listening to something the other day about how social distancing could stick around and it would help out, you know, certain, you know, flu and blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, but we are social animals, and we crave interaction, and we crave connection. You know, you're telling me that, you know, I can't shake somebody's hand or embrace them in a time of, you know, emotion. Like that's just, we're human.
Guys, let's not forget germs are good. Like germs are what build up your immune system. This is just a very specific case right now with a disease that came from animals, which is why people didn't have the antibodies built up to fight it off. But like germs are not a bad thing. So let's, you know, once this is all over and everybody gets out of all their freakouts and everything else, come on, we're not going to start living in bubbles.
Yeah, I agree.
There's a reason why it's called the human experience. Okay.
Right.
Mike, I'd like to hear from you for a second on something. So when I met you, you had just had your title changed.
Yeah.
I was at 121.
I was AKA the head of sales, but I was the chief growth officer is what I was.
Chief growth officer. That's right. And I remember meeting you. Obviously, I'm a good buddy with Nick, and I came into 121 and I met you. And I remember liking you right off the bat when I met you. Like you had a positive vibe about you. You had like this whole thing, and I actually regretted that we didn't get to chat more the first time. Like it was just, you know, everybody's running around doing whatever. But I remember liking you a lot. You're the CEO now of C21 globally. That's not something that somebody in like, you know, second grade career day is like, you know, Mrs. Thompson, one day you are looking at the CEO. Okay. Tell me about your process. Tell me what it's like to get there. Like, was that your goal? Was that your thought like, tell me about how you get from wherever you came from in your mother's house right now to CEO of a major, you know, publicly traded, like how's that happen?
Yeah, look, I'm super proud of being where I'm at, and I think life throws you, you know, a certain amount of curveballs and things at you, and you got to just be there to take advantage of them and knock them out of the park. You know, I came from a blue collar family, first in my family to go to college. I studied criminal justice. Thought I wanted to be in the FBI.
Hey, that was my world, by the way. My father was the director of security for NASDAQ for the world.
See,
like, I walked in his office one day, and what's his name? Ridge was there, the head of Homeland Security. He's sitting in his office, and I'm like, I don't even want to know what's going on right now.
To me, that's like super cool stuff. I want it to be like Fox Mulder, you know, from X-Files.
You think it is, but then if you saw the life my father lives, like he couldn't wait to get out because every day he knew everybody trying to blow us up.
Right, exactly.
And so he could like never relax. Like, you know, he would tell me like what was going on, and I'm like, I don't know if I should know this anymore. I don't know.
Well, look, I mean, you know, I'll keep it short, but like I literally, as Dan probably knows, I started way back when, and I tell people I started the mailroom entry level. I've done almost every job in the organization. And,
Did
you know, for the last bunch of years,
you started another company?
no, I started at C21 back in 1998. I was renewing franchises in Florida and Georgia.
Dude, you just said back in 1998, and I was like, that was 5 years ago. And then I realized it wasn't.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, when you turn around, you get teenage kids, you're like, holy cow, how'd that happen? But look, I mean, the best thing, and I always say about the brand, is the best thing about the brand is the people. It's why, to your earlier point, I love the industry, is because there's no other industry out there where you have two competitors who face off with one another every single day, have to sit across the table and negotiate on behalf of their consumers in order to get a win-win situation, right? And that's why I love real estate, right? And I love the business. I love what we deliver, to people in the dream of home ownership. I love the fact of how much we lend to the GDP in this country and how much economic activity we move into local communities. And I will say this, and Dan's a shining example of this, right? If you look at anybody, the real estate community is the first to take action, get in line, and help their local communities, bar none. Whether it's bringing money to the table for a good cause, or taking what I'm seeing now, care bags, and delivering them to healthcare workers, across this country.
They're not just salespeople; they're community leaders. It's 100%. But did you know that when Nick had left, did you know you were next in line?
I didn't. I didn't think of it that way. I like you said, I never rose my hand to be the next CEO. I think actually Nick probably put a good word in for me because him and I worked well. But I mean, like I said, he's a good friend of mine, so I know that that's the case. But I know that it made a lot of sense because just my heritage and history with the brand.
So what was your moment when they say, okay, you're up? What's that moment in your head coming from the mailroom, coming from whatever, like legitimately? I'm talking about from a because I know me, even to this day, some things happen or whatever, and I literally have to step back, and I'll only talk to my wife. I won't talk to anybody else about it, but I'll just kind of be like, when are they going to figure out it's just me? Like, that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, when is this going to finally, like, they're going to realize I fooled them all? Like, was there a moment when you were just kind of like, holy damn, like, I'm going to be the CEO here. Like, is this, how long can I, was there ever a moment like that?
Yeah, of course. There is every day. In fact, I think, all of us, all three of us on the phone and anybody really, it's all about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and doing something new and stepping up. And, I think we all have gone into positions where, we knew what we didn't know. In fact, my daughter is sitting here in the background saying, I can't believe all these people are listening to you. Like, do they hear what you're saying? And, there's that humbleness. But at the end of the day, I think it's the people in the brand and the people in our system know how much I care about the Century 21 brand and their success. And, I think as leaders, you guys all care for people who you try to help every single day. And I think that shines through in anybody.
Yeah.
By the way, Mike, just to reiterate that point, my wife just texted me like, when are you getting off this podcast thing? Like, who really wants to listen to you that long anyway?
I've got like the tale of two stories. I've got one kid that basically like is just like worships the ground I walk on. He thinks he checks my Instagram count every day. Like, he's like, let's go, Dad. All right. And the other one's just like, hello, is it you again? He's like, basically one's a dog and one's a cat is basically what I just described with those two. But you need those people, right? My wife gets home. She's like, all right, that's great. Take out the garbage.
Yeah, right. Jared, let me just, though, I think it's worth saying, I've known Mike for a long time, pretty much most of the time that I've been in the system since, 2000 now. And what I've appreciated about Mike and why I think he is so beloved within the industry is the guy you see today and you talk to and you do these podcasts with is the same guy that he was 5 years ago, doing franchise sales across the network. And, Mike's a genuine human and he wants to help people. And, to me, that's leadership, right? If you having somebody that would say, I don't care if it's you, Dan, or the smallest broker in our system, I'm going to do what it takes to help them. To me, that's a leader. And Mike just does an awesome job with that. So we're certainly proud of him.
So tell me with the both of you guys, because that's the same vibe I've always got from Mike as well. Tell me with the both of you two right now, because you're both in positions right now. I mean, let's face it, the reason you're on here is because you're both very successful. were there across your path, whether it's from childhood until now, were there defining moments in your lives that were either going to push you forward or hold you back, or was it just kind of like a gradual climb?
I'm happy to go if you
Go,
want.
Dan, go.
When I say that, I mean, like, were there moments where you're just like I vividly remember coming home or seeing my mother come home from an interview once where she got turned down for a job, and we were broke and poor and everything else, and she came home and she was crying in the corner, and she didn't get the job because they told her she was overqualified. And she's like, we're going to not be able to pay the rent. Like, we're going to be homeless. And I remember seeing that. Like, it was a moment for me. Like, I remember seeing it because I was always like an adult as a child. And I remember seeing it and going, I am not going to struggle with money.
Yeah.
Like, I am not going to, whatever. And so for me, that was a defining moment, right? So like, you guys, was there defining moments, or was it just gradual, or was it like?
I mean, I think we all have defining moments, and I'll say, a lot of people even on this call, we're all dealing with defining moments today, through this whole thing. And I'll think back to, when I got into this and I was an agent, and then I was a broker early on, and I was actually helping my dad who owned a small shop. And I kind of said, Dad, I love you, but I want to do something bigger. And he connected me with a gentleman that had a handful of C21s across Wisconsin, ended up being the guy that I bought out and partnered with for a number of years. But it was interesting. I ended up buying him out in 2008. And we all know 2008 was like the beginning of the downturn of the real estate market. And I specifically remember, and I'm a transparent person for those that know me. I'd actually gone through a divorce early on in my life. It was late 2000s. We're in the middle of the housing crisis, the middle of the recession. I was living in a double wide trailer going,
high class.
Can I make this work, right? How can I scrap together every dollar I need to help our company survive and move the company forward and put me in a position where we can make this thing happen? And fortunately, we took advantage of the downturn. We grew like crazy, as Mike knows. We started off with probably 15 offices or so in the late 2000s, and we have over 130 now. But it certainly didn't come without, adversity in those scenarios of the oh crap moments of, are you going to make it? And but you also find yourself in those moments, right? You go, great, I know what it takes because I've been there, right? And
frankly, like, ultimately you're betting on yourself.
Yeah, and
I don't know how this is going to work, but all I know is I'm going to keep going.
And I've said that to my wife for years. No matter what happens in the COVID scenario, we'll find ways to make it work. The company will survive. We've done it before. We'll do it again. And I do think those are the moments in your life that define you and make you a stronger person as you work through it. And yes, it's awesome to have those great times, but you get defined in those really tough times in the marketplace.
Also gives you empathy too for people when they're, because like, dude, I never knew that about you. We've always along really great. I lived in a trailer as a kid. Like, I completely like came from that world, like the whole whatever. And for me, I always crack up whenever you talk about money. People are like, oh, money won't make you happy. And I'm like, well, neither will being broke. So let's just stop that. Like, I've had one and I've not had it. And it's a lot easier when you have it, right? But you also have to have true empathy for people who, for where they're at. And, when people are actually struggling and people actually can't see a way forward. I mean, when you've really been through that, you could say the same thing that somebody else says, but it comes across different because you actually feel it. You're like, no, I'm not just saying that. I didn't just read that in a book. I didn't just hear that on YouTube. Been there, done that, right? Yep. So that's cool. Mike, any along the same lines, man? Any defining moments, or was it gradual, or like what's your?
It's tough to beat the two stories that you guys told. I will say, and just echo your points, is that when you're a leader and you're genuine and people can tell you care for them. They truly can sense that. And I think that's what that's what gets them behind folks like you guys, right? Is that they know you're putting it all on the line for them and you're just trying to better their lives and lead them to a better place. So, I love the way you guys, I'll leave it.
Just so you know, man, like we shared those stories. I don't think I've ever shared that story before, but, what you just said is 100% true, because I think about it all the time. Like, let's be real for a second, guys. We all have kids. Okay. My kids are never going to experience what I experienced. Like it's my kids come from a world where mommy doesn't feel like cooking, so we'll go out to eat. Like, going out to eat wasn't an option when I was a kid, right? And so I've thought about this, guys. I can't even tell you how often I've thought about this. Like, because you hear that, you know, for people to succeed and people to whatever, they have to struggle so much and they have to, you know, whatever. And so I've always struggled with this where I'm like, crap, how am I going to, you know, make sure, because I see these gifts they have, I see whatever, you know, but how am I going to make sure that they know what it takes, that they know what it, you know, that kind of a thing. And ultimately, when you look at, you know, successful people all across the board, yeah, a lot of them come from nothing. But I don't know if that's the best trail. Like, I don't know if that's the best, like, to me, the best testimony is that somebody actually was raised right, actually had loving parents, actually was put in a position to succeed, actually did, like, that's the best story. Like, our stories are great, but wouldn't it be better to have a story where someone didn't, you know, wonder if they were going to eat one night? Like, why do we crap on that?
Yeah, and you know, you know, Jared, we talk about this as a family all the time, right? Like my wife and I, and you know, I think if you appreciate, you know, what you have, that's the biggest gift we can all have, right? And if your kids appreciate where you've been and what it means, you don't have to live through the Great Depression to like appreciate it. You can appreciate it in a million different ways,
Yeah.
but as long as you just take the chance to step back and appreciate it, that's all that matters. And I know that to be true of both of you guys. You don't take for granted what you do every day. You don't take advantage or for granted, you know, the network of people or the events that you do. You know, as long as you have that perspective, to me, that's everything in life. And I think that's what makes you two special and leaders special, because it's genuine that they appreciate those around them. And that's the same thing with the kids. Like, we talk about that all the time. It's a tough thing, but you know, that's what we talk about.
It's about bringing it up, making it apparent, making it, you know. All right, guys. So the place we're in right now, you know, this is obviously a challenging time. It's an unprecedented time. Where do you guys think agents and brokers should be focused right now? What do you think they should be doing right now? Like, do you have any kind of like advice or what you've seen people doing, or like any kind of advice?
I'd wrap it up like this, and you know, Dan's certainly much more closer to the street level than I am, and I'm sure he has a great answer as well. But I'd wrap it up like this: is that, you know, we're in the service community, and we need to be servicing our customers and our community, because after service will come sales. And you know, right now we've got to be thinking about, you know, just the information that you got out of the first 5 or 10 minutes of this podcast about how people can better and help themselves with cash through the SBA or take advantage of what the government has out there.
Yeah.
That's the same type of information we need to be passing on to home buyers and sellers. You know, they just in New Jersey put out a forbearance on mortgages for 3 months with all the top banks. If I'm a New Jersey realtor right now, I would be out there spreading that word, telling people what they can do and how they can get in line.
A page on your site with a link to every major bank. Yeah. Content like, hey guys, go to my site, go here, here's what you can do. Like,
so to me, Jared, it's hey, be as safe as you possibly can in this time, but serve your customers, be in touch, stay positive, stay calm, and down the road when it's time, those sales and the transactions and everything else will follow.
That's perfect, man. Like, literally, that's been my message to people. It'd be my message to the C21 network is it's time to go from a sales mindset to a service mindset in the short term. Now is not the time to try to sell people.
Yeah, and you know, I'll add to that. I feel like we all get so tied into the daily messaging from our news sources about COVID and all these things out there. And it's overwhelming. I mean, I was just reading an article the other day about how the human brain really can't capture everything that's going on right now from a quantity standpoint. Yeah. I think it's also our duty to tell, you know, the stories that we still are conducting business, that people are still interested in home buying and selling right now. Yes, we have to be creative. We have to be safe. But there's transactions being had. And I think it's a bit of our duty to make sure that the public knows what we're doing on a daily basis and how we can service them, so they don't feel like they can't move or that they're stuck in a transaction or they need to move. People are relocating because of jobs or the military, and things still have to take place. And I think it's our job to make sure we're communicating that to the masses so they understand, well, here's a resource. We have to do it safe. We have to do it within the regulations of our local and state and federal governments, but there's ways to conduct business, and we're here to help you in that.
That's right. Awesome. I love that, guys. In closing here, who do you guys, and if it's nobody, then just let me know, but like, who do you guys, whether during this time or other times, who or what do you follow for information or motivation or inspiration? Or are there people, are there places that you follow? Like, who or what do you guys follow during this time for information, motivation, inspiration?
You know, to me, it's a lot of trying to, you know, spend time with my family and unwind from business and all the news you hear out there and try to get inspiration from them. And I think it's extremely important to remember what motivates you every single day, right? Make sure you keep that really clear, what your motivations are, because that will push you every single day to be your best and go out there and succeed in whatever you have to accomplish. But, you know, I think it's just hearing from other great leaders around the industry. I can't even tell you how many people I've been on. Dan mentioned the call earlier today across brands with some of the very best leaders inside of Realogy, some super smart people. Get on the phone. I've been on the phone with Jared James, Lawrence Yoon, you know, Mike Ferry, all these people who are stepping up. Steve Murray's going to be on our call again with you tomorrow. Like, all these people inside of our organization and in this industry are stepping up to try to help one another. And I really think that's the silver line in all this. So it's really a communal kind of inspiration to me, Jared.
Yeah, I agree. Mike made a lot of good points. The only thing, areas I'd add on to that, I actually feel like NAR and our state associations have done a really good job providing information.
You know what's funny? I feel like they have too. Like, there's a lot of places where I felt like they've kind of dropped the ball, and I don't feel like they have in this case.
I feel like they've gotten out really good information on how we navigate this on a regular basis. I know NAR, as well as areas like Realogy, are kind of lobbying on a daily effort for our industry. So I think those aspects are really good to pay attention to. To Mike's point, you know, I think just reaching out to other people within your community from a business standpoint. I talked to more business owners in the state of Wisconsin and the Midwest in the last couple of weeks than I have in a long time. I talk to the C21 network on a regular basis. I think having those one-on-one or peer conversations really help because it puts us in the position of knowing, wow, Mike's going through that, Jared's going through that. How do we work together to kind of solve this riddle together? Because we don't all have the answers. I'm not sure the federal government has the answers right now, but if we can keep helping each other navigate our way through it, the better off we are. So, I'm still staying in touch with all the major news sources, but those can be mind-numbing at some point. You do have to shut them off, and you have to kind of go to your peer base and your family and your faith, I think, and all that stuff as well.
So go away from fear-based and go to peer-based.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, guys, you made a very important point there that actually I'll be probably making this point to the C21 Global Network next week when we start to talk about all the options that are there and you know where people are focused at right now during this time. But the one thing to remember is everybody's playing on the same chessboard. You know, so it's like just when you want to kind of like curl up and get into a corner and say, oh my God, like this is crazy, this is unprecedented, I've never felt this before, I have anxiety, I'm uncertain, I'm, you know, whatever it is, you need to stop and recognize every single person in your area is playing on the exact same chessboard right now. And in every game, there's going to be winners.
Yep.
And so you have got to determine during this time right now that at the end of the day, you know, I said this to, remember who it was I was talking to, but it doesn't matter whether you're biblical, not biblical, whatever. But like, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about, look at the birds of the air and whatever, even they've got food and a place to live and, you know, whatever. And it makes the point that like, even they, at the end of the day, have somewhere to eat, somewhere to live, somewhere to whatever. From our perspective, you got to remember that as bleak as it may look for you and as negative as you may feel about where you are right now, we're all on the same exact chessboard and somebody's going to win. It's not like you're in your area and across town over here, they're not having the exact same challenges.
Yeah.
Well, like C21 is going through this and Remax isn't. We're all in the same challenges, which means in the end, winners are going to win, period. What were you guys going to say?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I've said this from day one of this happening. You know, unlike recessions and challenges we've had in the past, you know, there's going to be an end in sight to this. And I think in the whole scheme of things, it's going to be relatively soon. You know, we still have a little time ahead of us, but when we get out of it, I think there's going to be huge pent up demand. I think the market conditions will be ripe for strong activity in the real estate industry. And we, as a collective group, just have to get through to that point in which when we do, there's going to be huge windfalls at the end of this. And, you know, if you're smart, take advantage of them. You know, my advice to everybody right now is, you know, make smart decisions for yourself, for your organization, you know, put yourself in a good cash position. So when you get out of this, you can take advantage. And we will get out of this and we will be better off and stronger on the other side of it.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey guys, if you want to, is there a place that people can connect with you? Do you want them to connect with you or no? Or what do you guys think?
Yeah, certainly on my side, and we can, Jared, you can share any of my information you want out with any of this, but certainly anybody can find us on my website, C21affiliated.com, my email, dancruse@C21affiliated.com. Reach out, connect with me on Facebook, Instagram. Happy to help anybody in the industry, quite frankly. I think, once again, to your point, we're all in the same boat in this thing. And if we share information together, we're going to be better off.
Awesome. What about you, Mike? Do you want people to connect?
Yeah, likewise, guys. I mean, we, just sharing information. We've made our broker calls, our agent masterminds, everything available to anybody in the industry. I've offered it up to Gary Acosta and his entire NAREP organization. We got really smart guys like Dan and a lot of his colleagues sharing some really practical best practices and things that you can benefit from. You can reach me at mike.miedler@century21.net. or you can get me at Mike Miedler at Instagram or LinkedIn, and certainly we can connect and I can get you any information that you're looking for. And like Dan said, we're going to pull through this as an industry together, and we will lead hopefully all the economy out of this thing because of how important housing is to the United States of America. So be safe, and thanks for having us on, Jared.
We found out today you're not a big Facebook person.
It's all right, Mike.
That was before the call. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to say everybody who's watched this, guys, we've got almost 450 comments. We've got a ton of people that were on here. This is also going to get put over on my YouTube channel. We're going to throw it up on my podcast also. So it's going to get a lot of views there and everything. If you guys want to watch it on one of those places, just go to connectwithjared.com. One of my team is on right now. If you could put that in the comments. Connectwithjared.com, easiest way. Connect on Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat and YouTube and the podcast and all these different places. Appreciate you all being on right now. Do me a favor right now. If you watch this and you enjoyed it, give it a like, leave a comment, kind of say what you got from it. Share it, because I think that your colleagues need to hear, this kind of messaging coming from people who are really, helping to run this industry. So make sure you do that. Leave a comment, share it, guys. We appreciate you guys. You guys hang on right here. We're gonna stop going live here, but thank you everybody who tuned in. You guys rock, doing this every single night. You guys keep tuning in. So awesome. Thank you all. Hope it was helpful. We'll talk to you soon. All right, we're not live anymore.
Good work, man. That was fun.
You guys don't have to be nice anymore. No.
That was a lot of fun.
Are you doing this nightly, Jared?
I wasn't planning on it, but I put it out to a bunch of like the CEOs and stuff, and pretty much everybody said yes. So now I am an alcoholic doing happy hour every night. It's not even a joke, man. Like I can't even do my my Friday, with my office, because usually we do Fridays with my office and we stream it out to everybody, and I needed the day. So Friday I'm doing the Coldwell Banker people, Ryan and all of them. Now I'm getting emails from companies I didn't invite, and they're not very happy.
They want to be in the mix.
Yeah. So like nobody's seeing this now, so I can actually let me stop recording so that it just doesn't